Welcome to the VoiceIt show, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We
Hello.
wish you a very happy Halloween, all of you, everybody in the comments, and everyone listening. I'm Joe. I'm Kanak, and that's Funky El Medina. I pointed in the right direction. Woo!
For once.
Such a great feeling. Hi, Anders. Hi, everybody. Hannah. Everyone in the comments. Thank you for joining us again. Uh, First of all, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And we want to thank our patrons, Anders Lindholm, who's in the chat, Amy Paraday, Adam Gorak, Gloria Salinas, Shelly O'Neill, who has her birthday today. Happy birthday, Shelly. Chris Vickery, all of you guys, thank you for supporting us. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us today and every episode. And today we have with us a phenomenal personality, drummer, musician, Mr. Jeremy Colson, who plays drums for Steve Vai, Billy Idol, who has worked with Sebastian Bach of Skid Row and many, many more artists. He was nominated for Grammy for Now We Run. He is a drum teacher for School of Rock in Santa Clarita, which sounds cooler than any other school because School of Arts, Commerce, some kind of science. Yeah, School of Rock, you go like this, and man, that is one thing. He is very much Zen. He is a mountain biker as well, and a lot many things we will know from him now. And without any further ado, let's welcome Mr. Jeremy Colson.
Hello.
Hello.
There I am.
Woo! Here you are. Happy Halloween and good morning to
Happy
you, Jeremy.
Halloween. Happy
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween. How are
You guys
you?
do
What's
Halloween in
up?
India?
We do Halloween in India nowadays. It has started recently, like within 2 or 3 years. Not on a very great scale, on a huge scale, so as to say, because this is pretty much like a sacred thing right now happening because there's this. This is actually the month of the advent of the festival called Diwali.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of firecrackers and a lot of holy and sacred things happening.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, this is the beauty, that's the contrast. Like there, you're celebrating Halloween, and here we are celebrating sacred and holy things. But we do enjoy Halloween, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things. Fantastic.
Oh, cool. Well, good to be here.
And
Good to be here with you guys again.
yes,
This is cool. Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
and
thank
giving us your time. And also, congratulations to you and the band for the Dark Matters music video, which was released this week of October. So, do tell us a little bit about Dark Matter and the music video, because there's a lot of fun thing happened uh, during the shooting of the Dark Matter video. Let's start with that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't know that it just got released. Did it get released in India? Because it's been out here for a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was this week. I mean, this week, but 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
you.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
time flies. It's crazy. It was 2 years ago.
Right.
I really it was a fun video because we did it and we I played when we did the track. I played to it like twice the speed and then like twice faster and then like twice slower. So I had two angles of like you play it really fast and then he did all this video editing and stuff. So all the movements look really cool and um,
Right.
it was fun. You know, it was doing a video shoot and then getting to see
Mm-hmm.
it months later after it's all done.
Right.
Was really exciting. And I personally really like that song because it was a song
True.
that Steve had, he had asked me if I wanted to play drums on it
Right.
a while ago. And he just said, I have this song. Do you want to, it's a little bit difficult. Would you want to do it? And it was right when my
Mm-hmm.
daughter was born. So the way I learned the
Oh,
song was I would put Jet in the baby carrier, and we would go on hikes, and I would
yeah.
have the demo of the song, and we'd be
Gosh.
hiking. She was like 4 months old, and I'd be listening to the song so I could learn. Yeah, there she is. So I could learn the parts and stuff. So
Right.
that's why the song is special to me, because it was the first recording I did with Steve after my daughter was born. So it's so many things are different, like before and after.
Mhm.
So
Right.
yeah, and it
Right.
was a fun video shoot. Just being with Steve and Philip, who's like one of my best friends. I just the whole Vai crew is they're just
Yeah.
it's family, so it's really nice.
It's family. True. That is true. So now tell us how did the journey of this Grammy-nominated phenomenon and world-renowned drummer begin? Where did it begin, and how did it begin?
Well, I'm from the Bay Area, so that's
Mm-hmm.
Northern California, right outside of San Francisco. And I grew
Right.
up in a town called Belvedere, which was right on the
Mm-hmm.
water. So I grew up literally right on the water. So I got
Good.
to be around. It's beautiful up there, like the redwood trees and the ocean and just everything in Northern
Mm-hmm.
California is pretty beautiful. And my mom
Mm-hmm.
was a piano player, classically trained, and she got into jazz, so music was around. And then when I was a little kid, I discovered Ozzy Osbourne, and he became my hero when I was like 8 years old. And I went to a Catholic school, and so all the people at the Catholic school thought I was crazy because I loved heavy metal, and
Good.
I was really rebellious and stuff. And then
Wow.
yeah, and then I discovered, as I always talk about this when people ask me, I discovered Rush and Neil Peart, and then that began my journey of loving
Mm-hmm.
music that was a little more difficult and complex, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
just playing like regular rock music. I listened to like, wow, what
Right.
Neil's playing is they're playing odd meter, and they're playing these crazy rhythms and these long songs. So I want to spend the time to learn how to do that and have a big drum set and play all this stuff. And so I just
True.
at that point I was about 15, and then I just really got into Rush. That was all I listened to. And then I discovered Dream
Wow.
Theater, and I got
Mm-hmm.
into that and Fates Warning, and a lot of the progressive metal bands
Mm-hmm.
were really cool, because I felt like that was something that I really liked, beyond just being a guy that played in a band. I wanted to study the instrument. I wanted to like be a drummer's
Right.
drummer, and I discovered Terry Bozzio, who's just just one of my all-time heroes, who took the drum set out of a band context and made it this
Wow.
percussive orchestral type of instrument. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was a chance for me to just not have this desire to jump in a band, but to sit on my own and really hone my
Right.
skills as a musician. And so I did
Fantastic.
that, and then I got into some bands
Yeah.
later on, and I was a senior in high school when I was playing clubs,
Wow.
and then I met a guy named Mike Varney, who owned
Mm-hmm.
Shrapnel Records, and he introduced me to a couple of different people, and I started working in this band. I started playing in this band called Dolly's Dilemma, which is a progressive metal band.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
then
Mm-hmm.
got the gig with Michael Schenker and Marty Friedman, and he and Mike Varney recommended me for Steve Vai, and so Steve Vai called me and out of the blue, and it was one of those things where he invited me to come down and audition, and and so that was the start
Right.
of my journey many years ago now.
Yeah.
Right. A long time, almost 2 decades with Steve.
Crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. So can you
Do
tell us a little about your audition at with Steve?
Hmm. Yeah, well,
sure.
I tell you the
This was
uh
one of the questions from one
yeah,
of our
so that
viewers.
was
Yeah.
um so he called me, and then like I didn't hear from him for a long time, for like almost a year
Mm-hmm.
it felt like. And I was playing in like at the time I was really into punk rock, and I was working in a music store, and I wasn't super motivated about trying to get a big gig or anything. I was just kind
Uh-huh.
of going through the motions. And so when he called, he said, "Yeah, come on down here. My friend Billy Sheehan will be down here, and we'll jam and check it out." And I honestly thought, I'm like, I don't think I'll get the gig. There's just no way. There's two
Mhm.
that caliber. Uh,
Good.
so I just was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna go down, and I might not be able to be the most technically proficient drummer, but I'm gonna be the loudest drummer. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna just hit harder than anybody. Because at the time I
True.
was all about how hard can you hit. So I
How
went
hard you
down
hit.
and I met him the night before, and we talked. And the next day, I think they came into the guest room and they woke me up and they said, "Hey, Steve's ready for you." So I came down. I was like half asleep. Had to have some
Mhm.
coffee, and Billy Sheehan was there. I'm like, "Oh, let's go jam, guys." So we went, and we just
Whoa.
started. It started off, we were just jamming, and I could tell that Steve, Steve was smiling, and he really liked it, and we started jamming, and it felt really good. And
Right.
then he said, "I got this part right here," and it was a part for that eventually became the song called "Freak Show Excess," which is really technically challenging.
Fab.
And it was in a crazy time signature. I'm not sure which part, but whatever it was, I just happened to pick up on it. There could have been other songs that he threw at me that were an odd meter, like certain
Mhm.
parts, and I might not have picked it up. So thank God. For some reason, I think it was the part that goes ba 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 ba
Yeah,
ba
yeah,
ba.
yeah, yeah.
And for some reason, I picked up on it. And I'm not like, I understand odd meter, but at that time, especially at that time in my,
Right.
early to mid 20s, I wasn't that proficient at understanding a lot of those um,
True.
Zappa-esque kind of syncopated odd meter hits that he would do. So thank God that I actually picked up on that, and we jammed.
Mhm.
And I think there was even one part where I played it right and Steve played it wrong, and I kind of called him out jokingly. And so the whole thing was I laughed about it, and I was enthusiastic. And so when people always ask, like, how did you get the gig? And you know, you got
Right.
to be able to play. That's number one.
Yeah,
You
of
got to
course.
be able to have back up the goods. You got to be able to get in there and play. But the enthusiasm is the other thing. There's a lot of people they're great players, but they're just kind of like this, or maybe they don't
Mhm.
know how to be like socially interact with the other
True.
people. And because
Yeah.
and Steve always talks about this, when you go on the road, performing is such a small part. You got to live with these people on a bus.
Yeah.
So
True.
if you're not fun to be around, or if you're kind of a bummer, then it's not going to last very long. See, there's us in Iceland right there. Yeah. So it's a bit,
Good.
I mean, us on the road, we're just, everybody just kind of jokes around. I'm kind of the smart ass out of everybody. I kind of, I'm always joking and trying to, start something, and
Right.
it's a lot of fun. It's fun.
It's really fun. And not only that, how did it happen that okay, now I'm just totally diverting you, but Steve Vai did the service or I don't know if it's called service, but he did the ceremony at your wedding, and he
Sure.
got
Yeah.
to you, and yeah,
Yeah. Well,
and you,
I was living with Steve at the time, which is funny because I had some problems arise in my life, and so I was at one point
Oh.
I was living at Steve's house, which was a great,
Mm-hmm.
which was really cool. It was a nice, he's a beautiful place in Encino. So I was living there, and we were on a break between touring, and I had met my now wife at a, I think I was at, I went to a Black Label Society show, and she was there because we were both mutual friends with a guy named Niels Lozauer, who's a famous rock photographer. And
Yeah.
so we started dating, and
Mm-hmm.
it got serious pretty quick. And then so when we decided to get married, I was on the road, and
Uh-huh.
I think I proposed to her. I was somewhere in Spain via Zoom. We did it over Skype or something like that. But
Oh
so when we
wow.
came home, we were on a break, and
Gosh.
Steve married us in his backyard, and it was great. It was really cool. So yeah, Steve can marry a couple. So he did that, and it was a
And you
beautiful
also
experience.
sang to her, right?
I did. I sure did. I
True.
wrote a song
I
for
didn't
her.
know you
I can a little bit.
guitar
I
too.
wouldn't say anything amazing, but I did that, and it was a beautiful day.
Awesome.
That,
And
that was
okay, this is very disorganized. Okay, this is not a typical interview. So
It's okay.
I'm just asking you things that will come on my mind.
Yeah.
So guitar takes me to the incident where you messed up with the Euphoria guitar of Steve, and there was a dent on it or something. What happened exactly?
Oh,
I guess
you mean
acoustic
the
guitar, I guess.
acoustic thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a part of the show when I used to come out. So at first it was, remember when I carried the drum harness thing? So there was a point where I'd
Yes.
come out with the drum harness, and then
Beast.
when we toured in some places, we couldn't bring that just because if we were doing like crazy travel dates in places where we couldn't, carry all that stuff. So what we would
Right.
do is my drum tech would find each night during that section, he would find like garbage cans and little trash, like just things around that he would put on stage. So during my drums,
Wow.
during that part, I would come out and I would be, hitting my sticks on the
Yeah.
ground and on the
True.
microphones and everything. And then I would start going up to Steve. And then, so yeah, see right there, I would start doing it to that. And as you guys know, I kind of hit hard on the drums. So
Definitely.
it was
As
hard to
Steve
like,
describes,
he would
powerful
always say you
player.
gotta be light right there, but when you're playing, you're excited, and so I knew that eventually that would happen. But
True.
thankfully, Steve Vai
True.
knows a couple of people at Ibanez, so he was able to get another one. He knows a couple of people
God,
there. I think he could he could get another guitar.
man.
so what
Oh,
inspired the
shout out
invention?
to Thomas as well.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, Funky.
My question was, so what inspired the invention of the beast?
Say that again.
What
Oh yeah,
inspired
the
the
harness drums.
invention of the beast?
How did it come about? You mean?
Yeah.
I think Steve had an idea, like a while ago. The idea of coming out wearing something, and it kind of just it came from that, and then we explained that to my drum tech, and my drum tech started collecting things, and as it started as only a few drums, and each day my drum tech would find more and more things to get, and then I was just like, well, I have to carry this, right? It's going to be really heavy. And I remember the first time I put it on, I said, oh man, how
What are you seeing?
Yeah,
Gosh.
because it was so heavy, and I was just like, oh my God. And I try to think about doing it now, because when we first did this, I think I was like 29 or something like that. I'm 42 now. So like the idea of that doing that now, I'd be like, oh, but
Gosh.
I started to get used to it. It started to, it didn't think about how heavy it was. after a while.
Hmm.
But it was fun. You know, it was nice when I didn't have to wear it anymore, though, because, you know, every night it'd be like we'd be playing and I knew that part was coming up. So I'd have to be ready. Okay, put that down. You got to run over here. You got to make sure you get everything ready. Make sure you're all set. And then you got to
Right.
come out. And then I got to start my drum solo. Then I got to take it off. And then I got to run back around. I got to make sure I'm ready by the time that, you know, the thing goes.
Man.
And it was always good. We never had any major anything major as far as, you know, malfunctions of anything with that or anything falling off or breaking. I mean, everything was always pretty, you know, it was always pretty good. And people always liked that part of the show. And
Yeah, that's
it was nice for me because I got to kind of like go out in front and Steve and I kind of do our
exactly.
chatting and
Chad.
so yeah, it was fun.
Is ashtray still an important part of its ensemble?
Is what?
Ashtray is still an important part?
No,
Is it
not
still?
anymore. Not the ashtray,
No, right?
because I
Good.
do not smoke anymore. But it
Awesome.
was at the time. It was, you know, when you could it was used to, you know, go out. I'd have my ashtray. I'd have, you know, all my stuff. But no, as I've gotten older and I've gotten more responsible, I now you know,
Awesome.
no more ashtray.
Awesome.
Now it's
Right.
you know, carry a water holder or something like that. It's try to keep better now.
Yes. So, what is? How does a typical day? How does a typical day at a Steve Vai concert look like? So, right from getting on the tour bus to getting on stage.
Well, it depends if we're there's a few examples like
Mhm.
like if we're on the road and we're playing, usually I'll usually get like we all stay up really late. You know, when I'm at home
Mhm.
now, I get up at 5 in the morning because I got to take care of stuff. But on the
Mhm.
road, you go to bed at 5 in the morning, and you wake up at
Yeah.
noon or 1.
True.
You know, I try to sleep as much as I
Gotcha.
can. I wake up and have coffee and hang out, and I'll try
Mhm.
to go do some exercise, and a lot of it's just relaxing. You know, I try to just relax because uh, we do a long sound check because we do the Evo experience, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you got to put in like figure an hour minimum sound check, sometimes
True.
longer. And we're not only practicing songs, but Steve
Right.
likes to write songs on stage, likes to create stuff. He likes to record songs on stage. So there's like a whole, like, it's almost like one performance there because Evo people come out to watch the sound check and we do that. And then,
Right.
after that, we have time before a little bit of time before the show. And then the show is, 2.5 hours long
Yes.
at least. I mean, we try to, Steve has tried to shorten it. It always ends up, we always try to say, okay, we're not going over 2 hours, but it always ends up being longer. And
Man.
that's just, that's just the way it is. And it's fun.
True.
And so that's we play the show. And then
Mhm.
afterwards, we'll go and we'll eat, and then we'll get on the bus and we'll watch movies and we'll laugh and it's like being around. It's just like being around your best friends all the time. I mean, you get,
Right.
you miss home and everything, especially when you have a family. But I tell you, it's so much fun. I really, I've never, I never lose sight of and how great the memories are when you go and tour because you
True.
spend all this time with the same people, but you're experiencing all these things, and you have each night you play a different, you're in a different city or whatever, and it's
Right.
I can see why a lot of people dream of wanting to do that, and so I've never I've never taken that for granted, how lucky
True.
I am to be able to get to do that, especially with playing with someone like Steve and the family that is involved with that band. Because I've dealt with people that are where it's different kinds of situations, and I've heard horror stories about bands that tour that nobody likes each other, nobody gets along, and there's all that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't do that. No way.
True, true, man. That is so awesome. And okay, I'm finding a picture of your best man at your wedding.
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah, there he is.
That's Mike. Why?
That's Mike.
Gosh,
So Mike was,
that's
yeah,
a
Mike was. I actually have him tattooed on my leg right here.
whoa,
You can see that.
whoa! Look,
So
look
Mike
at that
was
man.
it's Steve's dog, but when I, like I said, I lived with Steve for a little over a year during a difficult point in my life, and Mike was kind of like my therapy dog because I was living in Steve's guest room, and Mike the dog would come in and he would jump on the bed and he would sleep next to me every night, and I was kind of getting my life in order again, and so Mike was my little pal. So it was he meant a lot. He was a great dog.
Awesome. So we got a video question for you from one of our viewers. So let's hear what she has to ask you.
Hi Jeremy, great to see you on the VoiceIt show. I hope you're having a good time. Just finishing off some Halloween preparations around here. Yeah. Anyway, so my question to you is, how do you celebrate Halloween? What will you be doing this year? And do you have any good Halloween scare movies to recommend? Enjoy the show.
So she asked me, what am I doing this Halloween, and do I have any good scare movies?
Yeah. The Kathy, one of our friends. Yeah.
I think tonight for Halloween, I believe we have a face painter coming over, and I think my wife is gonna be. We're all gonna be Kiss characters.
Oh,
and,
cool.
I believe.
There you go.
My wife is gonna be Gene Simmons. We're gonna be like Kiss and Dress to Kill. So my wife, we're gonna be wearing suits. So my wife's gonna be Gene Simmons. And Jet is gonna be Eric Singer, and I'm going to be Paul Stanley.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
So yeah,
that is so cool.
I was actually Eric Carr yesterday.
You know you were Eric Carr?
Yeah.
That's so cool. When we went to see Kiss right before the pandemic thing happened. Yeah, there's Jet, and we had the face painter come over, and Jet was Eric Singer, and my wife was Gene Simmons, and I wanted to be Eric Carr because I loved Eric Carr.
Oh yeah.
But Eric Singer is my daughter calls her Uncle Eric because he's a very close family friend.
Oh, that's cool.
Him and Jet are just like besties.
Woohoo!
So
that's
amazing.
You know, fun thing. Now, you can see my name. It's Kanak over there, but not a lot of people can pronounce it that way. Okay, so on one of the shows, Eric Singer was the special guest, and so they used to call me Ken, Ken, Ken. So so I type a comment. We were in the moment, and I commented, nobody can be Jimi Hendrix or something. And he read out the comment out loud with my name. And I said, Eric, you're the first person who has said my name 99.9% correctly.
Really?
And then the whole host of the show says, I was helping in the production design of that show. So he said, let's send Kanak the link and we will, call him up. So but the host said, let's send Ken the link. Let's call him up. And Eric Singer says, who's Ken? And he goes, he's Kanak, the guy you just read the comment. Why are you calling him Ken?
Yeah.
No, that's how we call him. You know what? That's not his name. this is Eric Singer. Okay, Eric Singer say that's not his name. He's Americanizing it because you idiots cannot say his name
Yeah,
correctly. I will what the
that's so cool.
heck?
Well, I tell you, Eric is he is a very, very smart guy, and he's one of the most
Man.
humble, if not the most humble rock stars I've ever met. Because he's,
Mhm.
there are people that if you're the drummer in Kiss, you could get to your head and you could be like, but he has
Yeah.
not changed. He's so humble, and he came over a few months ago and he brought all this Kiss stuff for Jet, and
No.
he
Wow.
is and he's just uh, one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life, and he's just
Right.
such a great guy, and it's so cool when you see people that haven't let any fame or success change them,
So true.
because that's always
Yes.
a bummer.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
Well,
true.
I'm just, you know what, I think everybody has different paths that they go to, and I've made quite a bit of, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but I've had a lot of
Hmm.
turbulent ups and downs in my career, and I could be in a different spot if I wanted to.
Hmm.
If I had decided to go one path, but for me,
Hmm.
my family and my health and what's
Right.
important, uh, kind of are the things that I've looked at more so than what do I want to, do I want to be I want to be in a big band. I want to be in this. I want to be in that, because that's stuff that,
True.
I mean, you look at what's going on right now. We don't even know when live music is going to return,
Exactly.
and so
Right.
at the end of the day, what's more important? Everybody, I think the last thing that a lot of people would want to be right now is a musician, because nobody's working. And I'm grateful that my
Good.
teaching career has just like, I didn't, it wasn't something I planned on getting this big, but I just have gotten all these students. But what it's done for me is just, it helped me rediscover how much I loved the instrument, because
Mhm.
for a
Yes.
while
Right.
it was all about getting ready to go play. How much money am I going to make for this? And is this going to be worth it? And where am I going to go? And now I get to explain to kids about music and teach them. And it makes me remember how much I loved, how I fell in love with drums in the beginning, and getting away from
Right.
all the other things.
Mhm.
Right. What are the things that students mostly and commonly stumble upon and while learning drums, and you advise them, because I'm sure many of them are watching right now,
Yeah.
and who would look up to you for some tips on improving like hand techniques and
Well,
leg techniques, or
well,
any tips in general. So if you
I always
have to
try
share.
to, and the one thing I have learned is that everybody has their own experiences and their own way of teaching, and everybody,
True.
has a method that they have found works for them. For me, I try to say, what did I do for myself and from what I was taught, and
All right.
what did I focus on that helped me go be able to get the gig with Vi, or with Billy Idol, or with Marty Friedman,
Mhm.
or any of that stuff. What enabled me to get those gigs? And what I
Awesome.
found, it was less about being able to
Hmm.
execute specific parts, and it was more about an overall feel of how you play, of your just understanding of
Wow.
rhythm and just grooving, because uh,
Right.
all the technique and all the, I've seen some students, they're trying to get one section of a drum fill within a song, and they're struggling over that. And I said, well, that's such a small part of the song. How's your overall groove? Like when you're playing the verse and you're just playing a simple groove, does it sound good? You might be doing it, but are you making it feel good? Does it have, the
Right.
thing I try to teach kids is to like the flow. It's less about perfection and it's more about, um, about your groove and learning to, and also the process of learning things. The one I so much of the stuff that I'm able to teach was stuff that I
Mm-hmm.
have learned from Vai throughout my years, as far as how you learn stuff. And I see a lot of
Okay.
kids get discouraged if they don't get something in the first or second time around. And I go, look, there's a process of learning a
Mm-hmm.
part of a song, or a part that's difficult, and you have to just accept the process and accept that it's going to take
Right.
it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen immediately. And if it did, you wouldn't feel as you wouldn't feel the accomplishment of what it's like to feel of like when you execute a part. Like when we played Now We Run, and we would play that song, that was after hours and
Right.
hours and hours of like bar by bar playing it really, really slow and making sure that
True.
everything was locked. But it was a
Right.
process. And at first I was scared to death about that song because I didn't think I could do it. And the thing that I learned was, how it is all a process. You can't just jump in. And there's some drummers that can, but at least for me, it never happened like that. So I try to
Right.
let students know that it takes time, and
Of course,
to
yeah.
trust the
Right.
process.
Right. Right. And especially with Steve, when it comes to Steve, he has many of the complex odd timings and
Yeah.
a lot of things like that. So would you elaborate on like how is your learning process with Steve whenever he comes up with, and how is your tuning with him? How do you learn, and how do you communicate musically,
Yeah.
so as to say?
Well, I've been working with Steve for so long, and before him as a musician that I play with, he's like a family member. He's been like a father figure. He's one of my best friends. He's been someone that's, I can
Yeah.
literally say has picked me up from when I was at the bottom, and has been with me, and has given me chances to better myself, and his whole family, everything. So I think that shows when him and I play, because um, we've always had a close relationship with talking about spirituality and life, and struggles
Right.
and good things and all that kind of stuff. Um, and I think that whatever he has given me, regardless of how challenging it is, the one thing he always has wanted is to make sure that there's a pulse and there's a groove within it. Because there's some music that, there's sometimes that people will make complicated music for the sake of it being complicated. Like you hear it and you go, wow, I could
Mm.
never play that, so impossible. But
Right.
sometimes that can be this thing that's almost ego driven, where it's like, I want to play something just so you could never play it,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to like hearing something and
Yeah.
go, okay, well,
True.
it's difficult, but I see this groove in it, and let's see where it lines up, and let's see how do you make it musical. And I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest challenge with people think like, oh, instrumental music or music that has odd meter, that's too hard to understand, and that doesn't groove, and that's not the case.
Exactly.
It has to be musical. My favorite metal band, one of them, my favorite metal bands, is Meshuggah, and they have these riffs, some of them that are
Mm-hmm.
just in odd meter, but so much of the drumming, he has the snare on 2 and 4, and you can go like this if you go to the concerts,
Mhm.
even if the guitar isn't playing in some kind of, things are like overlapping or whatever. But there's
Right.
a groove to it. It's not like, oh, this is so out there, I could never. Now, granted, there are songs that I've done with Steve where there are sections that are like, oh my gosh, that's insane. But
Yeah.
that's also fun too.
This takes me to one thing. Yeah, please continue. Please
No,
continue.
no, yeah,
I'll
that's what I
still.
was saying.
Okay. So, how long did it take you and the other guys to memorize Boom, shika boom, shika paka tika boom, shika the boom.
It actually wasn't too long. I remember when
Is it? Oh,
he he was really into those rhythmic patterns, and
right,
I'd heard him say it so many times, and then I just started practicing it, and then eventually we all
right.
just kind of learned it, and it became fun.
Wow,
But I
awesome.
can see in India, when they
Hmm?
count the rhythmic, like when they do the taka 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 taka, when they
Right,
do
right.
that, I'm always fascinated by that because, and I
Yes,
play the didgeridoo, which I love doing because you have to circular breathe, and when you're using your voice to do anything rhythmic, you have to think about inhale and where your exhale is, and there's something very
yes. Right.
yoga-esque to all of that. You have to be aware of your inhale and your exhale when you're doing all that stuff.
True. True. It particularly happens with the instrument tabla, what you're talking. So
Yeah.
uh, that's fabulous, and it most of the rhythms are spoken with your mouth, and obviously played also, played in the same way you speak it.
Hmm.
So just like you did that little bit right now.
Yeah.
So that fascinates me too, actually. Awesome. A lot of other questions as well,
Yeah.
but yeah, Funky, go ahead, Annie.
Yes, so I want to ask you about something. We have
Hmm.
heard that you and Mike Fasano have recorded something or worked on something at the Beverly Hills at the Bees studio.
Yeah.
Uh, so tell us
So
about it.
Mike was one of our not
Or
one
first
of our, he was the very first guest on our show, and
Yeah. He's awesome. I
he's
love Mike.
family.
He's yeah, he's he is talk about a guy that knows about drums, not only like knows about and can tune them, but he also can play. He's a great drummer.
Right.
He's a funny guy. So yeah, so I did the bees in 2000, I think 7. It was literally like a couple of weeks right before we started rehearsing for the
Mm-hmm.
the Vi tour with the violins and everything. It was right before that. It was literally
Right.
I got home from I was on tour with Marty Friedman in Japan, and then I came home, and
Mm-hmm.
then the lady from the Bees manager called me and said, "Would you be interested in doing a couple of songs?" So I went down
Wow.
to LA, and I was only going to do a couple of songs. Then they said, "Well, we do some more," and then they ended up like saying, "We just do the whole record." And so I was down
Gosh.
there in Beverly Hills, and I didn't have to bring any of my own drums. I just walked in and played, but Mike
Mm-hmm.
Fasano was there, tuning the drums, getting everything ready, and
Mm-hmm.
we got a great drum sound, and it was it was a nice experience of just I literally was um,
Right.
recording one or two songs every day, and I ended
Mm-hmm.
up doing most of the album, and then I drove back home, and then I had to come back down and start rehearsals for Steve's
Gosh.
tour. So it's a lot of work.
A lot of work. And this is the month, and obviously the December of 2017 when you toured India.
Uh-huh.
So how was that experience touring India and
Well, it was eye
South?
opening. It was definitely eye opening. I'd never seen. I've been a lot of places in the world, but I'd never seen poverty the way that I saw it until I went to India, and
Right?
really saw. It was very eye opening, but I loved it. I mean, I loved being in India, and I'm fascinated with. I practice yoga, and I'm fascinated by uh, the spirituality of India and the philosophy and a lot of that stuff. So there was a lot of it that I was really glad that I got the opportunity to go and see, and I would love to go back someday.
Sure. We'll welcome you. This
Yeah,
time I'll make sure I am there.
yeah,
Gosh.
I would love that. We'll plan it once all this COVID stuff gets sorted out. I'll
Sure.
make a trip out there.
Awesome. That will be fun. Okay. So, I'd like to throw some light on why Academy that happens in the
Yeah,
Palm Springs, and that's a phenomenal experience too. Would you like to share that experience as well?
yeah. The Vi Academy is always fun. It's a workout for me because I end up playing like 7 hours a day because
Gosh.
you literally like you get up and you do there's different sections where like the students get to jam with Philip and Dave and I, and then we
Yeah.
do the thing where we'll have another class about playing, and then at
Mm-hmm.
night we'll do a concert performance, and then every camper has to get a chance to be able to come up and jam with the band.
With Steve, yeah,
So
enter
within 3 or 4 days, it's just like I'm just playing nonstop.
all the time.
So
Yeah.
I have to have my back roller so I can stretch, and I have to make
Gosh.
sure because I'm sitting there, and yeah, it's the each year the older that I get, the harder it is, but it's really fun.
Oh
I
man.
like I like the challenge of because I'm really into like pushing myself physically. Um,
Right.
like before I got up this morning, I ran 7 miles on the treadmill right before before I did this
Whoa.
because I push myself. I need to do that. I'm wired that way. So I like the idea of
Wow.
having to play
Yes.
drums for 7 hours. It's like I want to push myself to do that. So it's a
Yeah,
fun
All right.
experience, and people love it. The fact that and Steve always wants to
True.
make sure every single person gets a chance to come up and jam.
Yeah.
that's the best.
Even if it's a single note, you have to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's so cool. And well, that's not the final thing, but I guess we are about what 9:50 a.m. Shall we
Yeah. I'm
wrap up
sorry I
this
can't stay longer,
time?
you guys. I have 5 drum
It's all
students
right. That's
that I have
It's
to
all
go
right.
with.
yeah,
But
yeah.
let me tell you something. I will come on your show anytime, and
Thank you so
maybe one of
much.
these times when I get together with Eric Singer, maybe I'll have him come on with me, and we'll do it. We'll do something
That
together.
will be
So,
You know?
we
wow.
love it.
Yeah,
That will be so
because you
fun.
you guys are awesome. I really it's great.
Me
It's
too.
great doing this, and thank you for putting up with my not making it the other day. And but
No, no,
No,
come on.
I would again. I could sit here and chat all day with you guys. So because it's enjoyable. But if there's one more question, I could answer really quick, or if you want to just if you guys are whatever.
One question for now would be your message or advice or words of wisdom for our viewers that are watching. So, or any aspiring musician.
Yeah. Um. Just do your thing and learn to be present and to enjoy the moment that you're playing and uh, don't let
Right.
don't let yourself get caught up in the world is a hard time right now for a lot of people, and the best thing
Sure.
the thing that has helped me finding the little things within the day that make me happy, whether it's going for a mountain bike ride, getting a chance to play,
Right.
working with a kid that's learning a beat, uh, you know, taking my daughter to the park, finding the little things
Right.
each day as opposed to saying, I want to get this eventually and I want to get all this money because, that's a dead end road. Find the things each day that will make you happy and have a full life. So,
Yeah, wise
There you
words.
go.
wise
Yeah.
words. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste and thank you so
Yes.
much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so
We'll
much.
let's keep in touch, and
We will.
I'm gonna talk to Eric, and we'll figure something out. Okay, we'll do
Yeah.
that. But let's
Definitely.
keep in touch anytime, you guys.
Definitely. And
So,
we'll invite Mike Fasano as well. We'll have
Yes,
the
yes.
trio.
We'll do a drummer thing.
Drama thing, definitely. So,
All
guys,
right.
first of all, thank you, Jeremy, for joining us
Thank
this
you.
morning. All of you guys, everything is in the description. Please check out all the links for Jeremy, and these are his socials. Go
There you
follow
go.
on these on these media. And thank you once again, Jeremy, and
Yeah.
everybody. Take care and ciao for now.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you guys. See
See
you.
ya.